Cancer is a continuously growing global health problem that poses major challenges, most especially in developing countries. Find out how this international distributor of innovative health products came up with a series of solutions to help increase a patient's chance to survive the odds. In 2020, the Philippines hit a record of 354,398 prevalent cancer cases within a 5-year period. But because of poor access to health care, especially for people living below the poverty line, the advances and breakthroughs in cancer remain unattainable to many.
Cancer refers to a group of diseases that's characterized actually by cell growth, abnormal cell growth and proliferation, inflammation, as well as angiogenesis or formation of new blood vessels. It always starts with mutation in the genome or the genetic makeup of a person inside the cell. Before PPARs, most of my patients, they were unable to finish the chemotherapy regimens because of the side effects and because of discomfort during the process of chemotherapy.
Maria's son Dominic was diagnosed with stage 4 rhabdomyosarcoma when he was only 4 years old. While coping with the recovery of her other sick child, Maria found it hard to accept Dominic's condition.
It was actually very devastating kasi with Dominic, it was manifested mga 4 years old na siya. Unlike dun sa daughter ko na congenital talaga, baby pa lang. Yung mga bandang September, meron ng umbok-umbok dito sa leeg niya. Hindi ko talagang inisip na cancer kaagad siya until nag-nosebleed siya.
Dominic was prescribed chemotherapy, but his family insisted to rush to an integrative doctor to seek for alternative cure.
Medyo hesitant ako kasi as a mother, I know the side effects ng chemotherapy kasi. So what I did is that I rushed towards the integrative doctor of my daughter, who happened to be PPAR partner doctor of Simply Nature.
One of the hardest decisions to make for people living with cancer is choosing the kind of treatment that would work best. To help patients and their families deal with this growing health problem, one company commits to producing safe, credible, and natural health solutions by drawing on the latest bioscience technology to deliver a series of safe, efficient, and natural products. What is Simply Nature and what does it do?
Simply Nature is a company we created and founded about 10 years ago. Our mission is to find effective health solutions for people. So we provide natural products that work in combination with conventional therapy and medicine.
As an international company that provides natural solutions for cancer, metabolic syndrome, and degenerative diseases, the management upholds a health philosophy that centers on whole food nutrition as the frontier in health management.
When we talk about choosing treatment, especially in the area of cancer, patients are really afraid of chemotherapy because of its side effects, and they tend to then look towards natural products. But this is not a either conventional or natural choice. At Simply Nature, patients can have the best of both worlds. Our protocols work with conventional chemotherapy to minimize its side effects so that they can get the best treatment using both conventional and natural together.
Cancer is like a virus. It continuously evolves, it mutates. So it can develop defenses against our usual treatment modalities like chemotherapy.
Like I said, chemotherapy and radiation therapy have a lot of side effects. So more often than not, patients stop their treatment because of these side effects. It's very important to have the support.
With the supplements that we give the patients, there will be lesser side effects, so they will be able to finish their chemotherapy protocols more comfortably.
This company introduced PPARs, which is touted as one of the best natural ways of solving serious health problems.
PPARs stands for peroxisome proliferator activating receptors. It's basically a nuclear receptor found inside the cells. Now, when these receptors are activated, the benefit that you can get from that is, number one, cellular differentiation. Number two, it's to promote fatty acid metabolism. If you have better insulin function, your blood sugar will naturally go down. And another one is to induce cancer cell death by modulating the immune system.
As a sole distributor of PPARs, the company promotes its use to many reputable health institutions worldwide and actively organizes corporate health conferences and public health talks in Asia.
Simply Nature PPARs is made out of a special strain of these types of microalgae. It is very effective by protecting the bone marrow. We maintain the integrity of the immune system of the patient, which is very important to prevent infections and to fight off the cancer itself. And also, Simply Nature PPARs is also very dense in nutrients so that the patient can recover faster because of better cellular healing.
Sabi ko parang na-lead kami to an extraordinary and I must say amazing journey. I'm very proud of him. At a young age, na 8 years old, he believed that it's his purpose to siguro encourage other people then. We would like to really pay it forward with the knowledge that there's really, like Simply Nature, that can help people with cancer very much.
When fighting cancer, living healthy is very important because it allows us to pursue what is important to us in life, and that's what it's all about. When we can help a patient move from being bedridden to getting up, to be lucid in thought so that they can have conversations with their loved ones, it gives the whole process of fighting cancer a whole new meaning. And that is what drives us at Simply Nature.
Hello po, ako nga po pala si Ronaldin Rosales Batalier, 23 years old at ako po ay taga Bicol, Albay. Na-diagnose po ako nung taong 2015, which is ito po yung mixed germ cell tumor sa ovary. Stage 1 po ako nung diagnose ako. Tinanggal po agad yung right ovary ko noon. May nakakita sa akin na taga doon sa amin, sabi niya, what if try ko daw sumali ng contest? Tapos hindi ko nga sinabi na may sakit ako. Sabi ko, sige, baka sakaling kahit paano may pandagdag kami sa gastos namin. Then noong 2017 po, yun na po, pabalik-balik yung lagnat ko. Siguro mga 2 weeks hindi ako nawawalan ng lagnat. Tapos yun na, pagpa-check up ko, kasi lumaki po yung tiyan ko. Doon ko po nalaman na yung cancer ko daw, numerous to count na siya. Yung sakit sobra pa, yung nararamdaman ko, likod and sa stomach ko. Ganun po lumaki po yung tiyan ko, hirap na hirap po ako. Nagawa po yung nakalatan na din yung lungs ko. Yung sa liver ko, kaya daw po lumaki yung tiyan ko, gawa ng sa liver po. Hindi na masyado nagpa-function yung mga organ ko sa loob ng tiyan. Yun po, ni-repair na po kami sa child house. And then, nung start na nag-chemo ako, doon na po kami tumira. Nag-stay na po sa child house. Akala ko okay na, wala na mangyayaring operasyon ulit. Pero nagulat po ako kasi every monthly check-up na lang po ako. Umuwi lang po ako sa amin tapos nagsusuka na naman ako. Akala ko kung ano na naman po yun. Yung dumi na ilalabas ko sa bibig na. Sabi ko, ano na naman to pa? Kaya na naman tayo, sisimula na naman tayo. May nakita daw po ulit na bukol sa diaphragm. Iyak na naman po ako. Sabi ko, hindi pa nga magaling yung sa ibang organ ko. Tapos ito na naman. Hindi pa po as of now, wala na po akong treatment. And may tumor pa po ako sa diaphragm. And lately, may nakita na naman daw po sa akin ng gallstone sa may gallbladder. Pero napansin ko po talaga, start po uminom ako nung Simply Nature, which is yung powder and tablet po na PPARs. Para pong, pag nainom ko na po siya, before ako matulog, pag nakakainom po ako, parang nare-relieve, parang nare-relax po yung katawan ko. Kaya siguro mga 2 days after na take ko po yung gamot, parang napansin ko na parang everyday na ako nagbabawas. Kasi po talaga dati, siguro sa isang linggo, 3 beses na po ako nagbabawas. And nakita ko po talaga yung good feedback agad ng gamot na ininom ko. Kasi yun nga po, parang pag nainom ko po siya, parang yung sa loob ko na may something ako naririnig na tumutunog. And after yun po, nagbabawas na po ako. And parang ang gaan po sa pakiramdam. And parang medyo po nabawasan yung bloated ko sa tiyan. Start po nung uminom po ako. About po dito sa PPARs powder po, tinitake ko po siya every after meal. And based sa protocol po na ibigay po sa akin ni Doc Jansen, pag morning, which is 5 scoop, nilalagay po sa ilalim ng dila. And antayin mo po yun matunaw. Pag gabi naman po, tinitake ko siya after dinner, which is 4 scoop naman po siya. Kasi sa protocol po is kailangan everyday makatake ako ng 9 scoop. So, kapag po, based po sa observation ko, kapag po naiinom ko po itong PPARs powder,
Parang yung something na tumutunog po talaga sa tiyan ko, na parang may something, parang kiniklense na yung sa loob ng tiyan ko. And after po nun, magbabawas na ako. So parang after ko pong magbawas nun, parang feeling ko sobrang gaan ng pakaramdam ko sa tiyan ko. Tungkol naman po sa PPARS Plus tablets naman po, based sa protocol po na ibinigay po sa akin ni Doc Jansen, ano po siya, kailangan everyday makatake po ako ng 30 tablets. So sa protocol po na sinusunod ko, iinumin ko po siya with empty yung stomach ko. Pag morning, pagkagising ko, ito po talaga agad yung iniinom ko. 15 tablets sa morning, and after naman po, same, kailangan empty din yung stomach mo. 15 sa morning, ng pagkagising ko, and 15 sa evening after dinner ko before ako mag-sleep. Kasi yun nga po, mas pinipili ko siya after dinner na lang po siya inumin para po agad, pag nainom ko po siya, yun nga po, nare-relieve yung katawan ko, parang mabilis po ako nakakatulog, and naiiwasan ko po yung insomnia na lagi ko pong nararanasan noon po, lalong-lalo na po nung after po ako mag-chemo. So yun. Daily routine ko, yun, gumigising ako ng umaga for exercise kasi yun din yung advice sa akin ng doktor ko. Kailangan may regular exercise ako and pagkain ng mga masustansya pagkain. And yun nga po, nabanggit ko last time na mahilig talaga ako magluto. Yun po talaga, kapag kumakain po kami sa office, talagang ako po yung luluto po para sa pagkain po namin ng ibang mga kasamahan po pasyente. As of now, thankful po ako kasi isa po ako sa nakatanggap ng scholarship sa isang magandang universidad dito sa Manila. Isa po sa nag-udyok sa akin para kumuha ako ng kursong education is yung mga bata po na kasamahan ko dito. So, nakikita ko po yung hirap ng papa ko. So, sinasabi ko sa sarili ko na hindi ako kailangan panghinaan ng loob. Kasi yung papa ko, nilalaban niya ako eh. Pero ako that time po kasi kapag naiisip ko yung taning ko, parang ang sakit po. Like, nakikita ko yung papa ko na lumalaban. Pero yung katawan ko, pakiramdam ko po sa puso ko na kahit yung utak ko, yung puso ko gusto ko lumaban, hindi matutumbasan ng pasasalamat yung nagawa sa akin ng papa ko kasi talaga sobrang bait ng papa ko.
And nung November po is nag-CT scan po ako. Doon ko po nalaman na may nakita daw po na bagong tumor po sa akin. So that time, syempre, naisip ko na okay na ako tapos may nakita na naman po ulit na bago. So I am so thankful po kasi nung December po is nakilala ko po kayo. Nakilala ko po sila Mr. Shyan, sila Doc Jansen po at ang Simply Nature staff po na alam ko pong nakatulong po talaga sa akin. And yun nga po, nung nakita po na parang bad yung result ng CT scan ko, and after po ng December, bali po after December po, and until June, July, bali nakatatlong CT scan po ako. At nakita ko po talaga yung improvement po ng result ng CT scan and ultrasound ko po. And I'm so happy po na nitong latest na CT scan ko nung July, tuwang-tuwa po si Doc Jansen kasi talagang nakita po niya na lumiit po talaga yung tumor ko. And masayang-masaya po ako doon. Siguro kung wala yung Simply Nature, siguro yung tumor na nakita po sa akin, I think siguro po mas lalala po siya. Kasi yun nga po ang sabi nila, kapag na-stress yung pasyente, mas lalo po yung nagtitrigger yung cancer po. Kaya yun nga po, maraming salamat po talaga sa Simple Nature kasi kung hindi po dahil sa inyo, siguro hanggang ngayon stop pa rin po ako sa pag-aaral. Ngayon po, gusto ko lamang po pala ipaabot ang aking pasasalamat kila Doc Jansen and Mr. Shyan. Maraming salamat po talaga kasi alam ko po talaga nakatulong po siya sa akin at alam ko pong mas lumakas po ako. And sabi nga po ni Doc Jansen na kahit slowly siya, sure naman po talaga na gagaling po ako. Kaya maraming salamat po sa walang sawang pag-support po sa akin.
Good evening to our attendees for tonight. My name is Jessa, and you are watching another episode of Simply Nature webinar powered by SMG or Simply Healed Medical Group. Last week, Thursday, that's November 10, we discussed about prostate cancer and diabetes. And moving on tonight, I'm glad that we came together to recognize and raise awareness for Lung Cancer Awareness Month. This free webinar is an opportunity for us to stand in solidarity with those who have faced or currently facing the challenges of lung cancer. So please spread the word by tagging and sharing with your family and friends. To provide valuable insights, we have here an international speaker on a wide range of topics from personal success to healthcare, who is also the founding director of Simply Nature International, our PPARS expert from Singapore. You all know him, no other than Mr. Shyan Lim.
Hi, Jessa. Hi, everyone. It's good to see everyone again. A big welcome, a big hello to Lily, our stalwart supporter, and to all the people who are watching us for the first time. A very good evening. To our regular viewers, I think you're pleasantly surprised that we have a new host tonight. That's Jessa. Okay, Jessa is actually Jessa. Your major is biochemistry, or what was it?
Microbiology, but I also
Microbiology. All right. So
molecular biology.
we have Sheila who fought cancer firsthand with her son. We have Jen, who's a pharmacist, and now we have Jessa, who's a microbiologist. And April has very strong experience with geriatrics. So the team is getting bigger. So every time we have a different host who bring a new insight. So a big welcome to everyone. Today we're going to talk about lung cancer, and it's a patient update. So I think this one is going to be interesting because it's Dr. Jansen is just going to do a live briefing after this. He's going to talk about a patient case, and I think that's always very relatable and very interesting for everyone. So remember, immediately after our program, after Dr. Jansen, we have a AMA segment, which is Ask Me Anything. You can ask any questions, and those of you who were with us last week, if we didn't get to answer your questions last week, ask them again, and I pray that this time around we'll get around to answering your question. We're also very excited to share that this afternoon we fixed a date for next year's face-to-face. The last face-to-face was very well attended, and we have new panelists that will join us. Of course, Dr. Jimmy Katapia, our oncological surgeon, will join us as well. So keep a lookout for that. And without further ado, Jessa, I'll hand the time back to you to introduce Dr. Jansen for this evening.
Thank you, Sir Shyan. Now it's time to hear from another expert with the help of his patient case presentation. Let's all welcome Dr. Jansen Kalalan, graduated from St. Luke's Medical Center, College of Medicine in 2016. Then in 2019, he was conferred as a diplomat of not only the Philippine College, but also the International Board of Lifestyle Medicine. He's also the president of SMG, or Simply Healed Medical Group, and a consultant at Alta Integrative Medicine and Wellness Complex at Perpetual Health Medical Las Piñas. Let us all watch this.
Good evening, everyone. First, before I start, let me just share my screen. This would be a very short patient case up. So please listen carefully because shortly we're going to proceed to the Ask Me Anything segment. Okay, and I hope everybody gets encouraged by this patient of mine's result. Okay, so just a recap. This patient was diagnosed. She's a 65-year-old female. She was diagnosed with lung cancer on the right with a staging of stage 3C. Likewise, she's also pre-diabetic and have high blood cholesterol levels. Okay, so during the first consultation that she had with me, I prescribed her with this protocol, no, PPARS liquid, tablets, and also megadose IV vitamin C. Okay. Now, for the lifestyle intervention, it's basically a whole food plant-based diet. However, it is not a solid. She can't eat solid foods because she has shortness of breath. So essentially, I was prescribing her with only a liquid diet. Okay, she was eating primarily a liquid diet, or rather drinking. Okay, so on September 12, a chest CT scan was done. Okay, this was I think this was a follow up already. This she a 2 centimeter mass was found. Okay, this was the baseline actually before we started treatment. Okay, and a week later, yeah, a week later, yes, it's a week later. No, a week later, she reported still with chest heaviness, especially on the night after she received megadose IV vitamin C. And this chest heaviness persisted for 2 days until she took PPAR's liquid. Now, I just want to explain, no, why this effect happened. So, megadose IV vitamin C vitamin C, if you think about it, it's an antioxidant, but at very very high doses, it acts as an oxidative um it basically acts as an oxidative agent. Okay, so if it acts as an oxidative agent, mainly we're utilizing that character of vitamin C to kill the cancer cell. Okay. Now, however, because of the very high dose, no, she developed some side effects. But what's amazing is this side effect went away when she took PPAR's liquid. So this is an evidence, actually, that number one, PPAR's liquid is a very strong antioxidant. No? So it counteracts the effect of the oxidative power of mega dose vitamin C, and of course, it is readily absorbed in the body. Okay, so this is uh, a confirmation with the product of Simply Nature. Okay, now let's go into some vital statistics, no, or vital signs rather. Vital statistics. Number one, her O2 saturation was ranging around 87 to 97. When she exerts herself, it goes down to 87, which is this is quite low actually. What is normal is 95 and up, no? So 87, that's quite dangerous, okay? And it is also one reason why she nebulizes once in a while, okay? And actually, at the clinic, when she followed up, her pulse rate is at 110. So her O2 saturation was 93. So she really has difficulty breathing, okay, or shortness of breath. All right. So at this time, we proceeded to give her megadose vitamin C at 15 grams and also some medication to help her breathe a little bit better. Okay. So a week later, she followed up again. At this time, still the patient reports shortness of breath. With this respect, there was no improvement. When I listened to her lungs, there were still wheezing, no. So it seems that there wasn't significant improvement when it comes to this. Okay. Still she was on PPAR's liquid. Um, take Timber's liquid every day. Okay, so at this point, I decided to double the dose of vitamin C up to 30 grams and see if she was able to tolerate it. During this visit, she was able to tolerate it, okay, actually quite well. Now, the following week, on follow up, there was shortness of breath. Uh, the breath sounds are still not good, okay, on both lungs. However, what's amazing is the wheezing went away already at this point. Okay, this is a very significant response because if you hear wheezing in both lungs, it means that the airway is narrow. Okay, so the tumor is still, of course, blocking her airways. That's why you hear wheezing. When the wheezing is gone, this is a very significant uh, improvement because on top of my mind, I will think that the tumor might have decreased in size. Okay, because the airway went back to the airway increased in size again. Okay. However, there were still RALs, no? The RALs happens, or a doctor will hear RALs if there are a lot of mucus inside the patient's lungs. Okay, so that might be one reason why we still hear RALs. Okay, also, the patient noticed softening of her neck masses. Okay, she had two very large lymph nodes on just above her clavicle on the left and the right, no, and the patient noticed softening of these two neck masses already, and the neck masses were actually biopsied. A biopsy was taken which showed really a metastatic adenocarcinoma. Okay, so with this, her oncologist decided to give her gefitinib once a day. This was prescribed by her onco. Gefitinib is a targeted therapy medication. Okay, so with this, since the patient is already on targeted therapy, the role of megadose vitamin C will be gone already. Okay, so we decided to stop megadose vitamin C, and we just proceeded with ozone therapy or EBU. Okay, now. Later on, if you are curious, maybe you can raise the question, what is EBU? We'll explain it to you later. Okay, so they'll continue with the PPARs. Okay. Now, on the following week, okay, the patient has no shortness of breath already, okay, which was really amazing. Okay. Uh, yeah. Well, after 2 weeks, no. So her O2 saturation was at 99, which is really wonderful. Okay. She can tolerate eating solid foods already. When I listened to her lungs, it was clear. Okay? There was no rals, there was no wheezing. Although there are some areas of her chest that still has decreased breath sounds though, which might be the tumor. Okay. However, one thing that is really very significant is she doesn't have wheezing anymore. She doesn't have rals as well. And there's also a decrease in size of the enlarged lymph node on her left shoulder. Okay. And the lymph node on her right was gone. Okay, which was this was really quite an amazing finding. Okay, an amazing improvement at that. Okay, so a few weeks earlier, she went for follow up again. She underwent the same EBU. At this time, there were no shortness of breath again, so the improvement was consistent. And this was the most significant improvement of all. No, um remember November 7th was just after the long weekend. So everybody was going to the province. Lo and behold, her daughter, for I think her daughter or somebody forgot to bring the duobent. Okay, this is the nebulizer to make her breathe a little bit better, no? They forgot to bring it. So essentially the patient was not nebulizing at all for 3 days. However, the patient was able to tolerate without nebulizing. She did not have any episode of shortness of breath, which was amazing. And she was able now to climb one floor without fatigue. Okay. So this is a very significant improvement actually. And lastly, the palpable lymph nodes on both of her shoulders were gone entirely. So right now, we're planning to repeat her chest CT scan on January 2024. So stay tuned. We'll see how significant her improvement is once we get a chest CT scan, a repeat chest CT scan. Okay. So that's it, everyone. Thank you for listening. I hope you get encouraged with with my patient's improvement, no, which is quite significant. This just goes to show that if you combine all the modalities that we know that can help a cancer patient, we get really good outcomes, even though the stage of the cancer is quite advanced already. Lung cancer at that. And lung cancer at stage 3, the prognosis is not good. Okay, trust me. All right, so let's go ahead with the AMA segment. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Doc Jansen. That was an excellent patient case analysis that will surely help our lung cancer patient when it comes to dealing with their cancer care journey. For those of you who wish to have a consult with Doc Jansen Kalalan, the link schedule of the appointment is in the description box and comment section down below. Our pretty healthcare specialist Beth will surely reach out to you shortly. Okay, I guess I am thrilled to have such an interactive audience tonight. I can see here from the screen that questions start to line up. To our attendees, please feel free to put your questions at the comment section below and let's keep the conversation going. But first,
I just
I
want to
would
say
like to shout out our avid viewers, Lily Lu from Malaysia, Nora Payoyo from Tarlac, and Miss Noemi from Bicol, who just won pillbox from yesterday's Lazada Live. Congratulations, ma'am. Your participation made today's webinar a hit. I would also like to greet our new viewers, Mr. June from La Trinidad, Caridad from Cavite, and Marilyn from Taguig City. Okay, I am excited to feed our minds with new learnings tonight. Now to answer questions, so let's start the live AMA question. For the first question, it is from Miss April Joey from Camarines Sur. What is small lung cancer? If it metastasizes the brain, how will you drain the water?
first of all,
Small cell.
yeah,
Yeah,
Doc,
yeah.
I
Go
just
ahead. Go
wanted to
ahead.
say, I just wanted to say that lung cancer in general, Doc, right? Before we even differentiate large and small cell, lung cancer in general is one of the more difficult cancers,
Yes,
right?
that's true. That's true.
And when we talk about small cell lung cancer, usually when a patient is diagnosed with small cell lung cancer, unless they went in for another procedure and found it early, most of the time it's already in the late stage. And if I'm not wrong, for small cell lung cancer, stage 3 or 4, usually patients only, an onco will usually only give them about 5 months. So yeah, especially stage 4, about 5 months. So what you shared just now about your patient is amazing, Doc. Very, very encouraging. And Doc, just wanted to check, was the patient a large or the small cell lung cancer?
She was diagnosed with small cell lung cancer.
Wow, which is the
EGFR
more
positive.
difficult one. Yeah, the very aggressive.
The prognosis a little bit better. She was diagnosed with non-small cell.
Oh,
The
non-small
more
cells.
non-small cell. The more aggressive one is the small cell.
It's the small cell. All right. Okay. I
Yes,
thought you
yes,
said
yes.
she small cell. Doc, I guess you
Yeah.
already started to answer the question. What is small cell lung cancer? What's its prognosis?
Yeah. Okay. So the main the main difference is in the name. Okay? But we have non-small cell, we have small cell lung cancer. And typically the difference there would be the area or the part of the lung in which it grows from. Okay. Also, the risk factors are quite different. For non-small cell lung cancer, this usually occurs in patients who are non-smokers. So it has a genetic predisposition actually. Now, in contrast, people who develop small cell lung cancer are typically people who have had a period in their life where they were exposed to gaseous irritants. So that would include, of course, your tobacco smoke. That would include also your uh, smoke from the exhaust, vehicle exhaust. Okay, from air pollution essentially. If you are working in an industry where you are consistently exposed to smoke or fumes, then that would also be one risk factor. No, one other example would be those who are working inside the kitchen. Another one would be those who are working in the semiconductor industry, especially when you are continuously inhaling these fumes. No, in mining as well. Okay, so these occupations. Now, another difference when it comes to this lung cancer, these two types of lung cancer, is that small cell lung cancer has a worse prognosis. Why is it so that it has worse prognosis compared to non-small cell? It might be because of the other effects of the pollutants on the body. That's why it has a worse prognosis. Okay, and another one, it can be very difficult to treat. Okay, so those are the some of the reasons or some of the differences of these two types of lung cancer. Okay.
Doc, the viewer also asked, what would you do if your lung cancer has spread or metastasized to the brain? And I think he or she mentioned edema as well.
Yeah, for the edema, the first thing that your doctor should have given you already, would be steroid, especially dexamethasone, because dexamethasone can reduce the edema inside the brain. Also, if the intracranial pressure or the pressure inside the brain is increasing, mannitol can also be given. However, you have to go and see your neurologist for this. Okay, very important that you keep in contact with your neurologist. Okay, for the other modalities, I have to see you first. I have to talk to you first so that I can make the appropriate um, recommendations. No, yeah, basically that's how I would approach it. But if it already metastasized in the brain, how will you drain the water? Again, through medication, no? So number one would be dexamethasone. Number two would be mannitol. Number three would be a procedure where a procedure, no? It's called a VP shunt, or they shunt the fluid to and fro from the brain, no? So that's another procedure that some doctors do, just to decrease the accumulating fluid inside the brain. Okay.
To all our viewers, as Dr. Johnson shared, if you, for this case where the lung cancer metastasized to the brain and there's edema, that means a buildup of liquid. We use drugs to drain the water from the brain. I just want to share that many times on our program we share with you how the drugs work, right? So this is so that for those of our viewers who want a natural approach to treating your cancer, so that you also appreciate that when you're in a critical condition, things like lipid buildup, which can create pressure in your brain, and that's not good. So don't be afraid about going to take some drugs so that it can stabilize your condition. Now, Dr. Jansen, it is really common case, when a patient who wants to go natural and then they go to the hospital. And while it is important that they go to the hospital to get treatment from their doctor to stabilize their critical condition, many times the doctors there would then also, I guess, very strongly say that don't take any supplements, don't do anything, just do what we prescribe to you and nothing more. How do you help our viewers balance this out? Before you answer, maybe I'll say something so make it easier for you. Okay, I want to let our viewers know the doctors are changing, right? I recently went to the National Children's Hospital and we did a presentation to the graduating pediatricians who just finished an advanced program, and I spoke about PPARs for supporting children through their chemotherapy and radiation therapy. So down there, the first pediatric oncologist in Philippines, she's a senior now, as in a senior citizen, I think. She's very likely a senior citizen. She actually stood up and she actually said that we are very interested in novel approaches to treating cancer. That means she's very interested in anything non-traditional. That means the established methods are chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgery. She was very interested to learn more. And just imagine, I'm talking about PPARs to a whole room full of pediatricians graduating from National Children's Hospital, one of their advanced programs. So I want to share that, yes, it is true that some doctors will say don't do anything else, just do what we say. But there is a growing number of doctors that are also open. But of course, doctors will share, don't do crazy things, because in Philippines, there are a lot of network marketing companies that share products that are supposed to be miracle cure, and sometimes that can be bad, right? That could make your condition worse. So, doc, how do you advise a patient, let's say one of your patients, and that has happened before, right? You've actually lost some patients because of this. How would you advise them when they meet, let's say they go into a hospital to get their edema drained, and then a doctor or oncologist is referred to them, and oncologist say, don't take anything else, just do for the chemotherapy. How does the patient balance this? And what is their rights? I mean, in terms of a patient choosing the treatments that they want.
Yeah. So number one, the key here is education. Okay.
Education,
So we
guys.
have
That's why you're here.
yes,
That's
yes.
why we are here.
Yeah. So we have to make sure that the patient understand the things that is being done to their body, number one. Number two, we have to let the patient understand the
So
role
number one,
of
the key here
the
is
different modalities or the different products, medications that's being given to them. Okay. The problem here is some doctors, I think, because they have a long line in front of their clinic or they have a lot of patients to visit inside the hospital, they sometimes are not able to explain in depth or in detail the role or uh, the mechanism of their protocols. Okay, so that's one challenge that we have that we're experiencing right now. So my role is when patients come to me. So say for example, I'm prescribing whatever supplement, no. So I make sure that the patient understands that this will work how what would the expectations be, and will this how will this interact with the other things that uh, their doctors are giving. So essentially it's education again, and of course at the end of the day we have to respect the autonomy of the patient. So whatever the patient chooses to go for, we have to respect. Okay, we cannot force or make them do certain things. No, although of course doctors would be the influencers of these decision making process. No, and in that we go back to the education. So the role of doctors is to educate. So whatever we say to the patient will of course take heavily into consideration. Okay, so we have to be careful. And the problem there is some doctors would shy away or not recommend or convince the patient not to take any supplements. Would number one, because again there are a lot of scammers uh, around there. Yeah, out there, no. And number two, they might not have read or they might not understand the mechanism of the supplements, how they're working or how it will influence their treatment. Of course, you as a doctor, of course, would not want the things that you're doing to the patient to be influenced or the efficacy be diminished by um, other things. Okay, so that's one fear. Okay, so I hope you understand where the patients and the doctors are
Yeah.
coming from, no, with this.
Doc, thank you so much for your explanation. I just want to recognize, I believe this is a Miss Summers asked a question about minimal tuberculosis, lung-related experiencing fatigue during brisk walk. That's one. We hear that. And Mr. Von Homer, Lung Gomez, asked about chemotherapy. We'll answer those two questions immediately after this. But first, I just want to give a final guideline on how do you balance when you went into the hospital for emergency intervention, which is necessary because of your medical condition, for example, draining your edema and taking drugs to drain the edema. Okay, here it is. If your medical doctor tells you, no, don't do anything else except what we give you, please remember that as a patient, you always have the right to choose your treatment or to reject certain treatments, all right? So you make education is very, very important. But usually, if you are in the ICU of a hospital, you have to observe their requirements and their rules, okay? Now, when you leave the hospital or when you're not in the ICU, you have your choice you do have the ability to choose, okay? So I actually know of patients who are very clear about their condition. They actually tell the doctor, I don't want to take these specific drugs, even though some doctors want to give those drugs, for example, very strong antibiotics. They make those decisions on their own, and of course, they will bear the responsibility as well. So usually if they do that, the doctors will tell them to sign a waiver in a hospital. So you don't have to go so far. So while you're in the hospital, let the doctors take care of you. All right. Now, what happens when you go out of the hospital and you meet a doctor and he's telling you, hey, take this and that, it will help you, right? So now you're stuck. You don't know whether to believe what your hospital doctor told you and what this other integrative or naturopathic doctor is telling you. Let me give you one quick way to help you decide whether or not to listen to the advice. Test the doctor, the integrative doctor or the naturopathic doctor, test whether they understand the drugs that the conventional doctor has prescribed to you, right? I think that's a very important thing, right? Because we always say the conventional doctor doesn't understand what the supplements are doing. That's why they say no. But on the other hand, drugs keep you alive, all right, if you're in critical condition. So it's very important to test your integrative doctor whether he or she knows what they are doing. So if they don't even know what your conventional doctor is doing to you, if they don't recognize the drugs that your conventional doctor is giving, they are not familiar with the chemotherapy drug, they're not familiar with the procedures your conventional doctor in the hospital is doing to you, I think you should look for another integrative doctor. Okay, because I think it's very important the person that's giving you the natural or the alternative treatment should also be well versed in the conventional. Number one, to make sure that whatever they are doing will not conflict with the drugs that you have been prescribed. All right, and number two, if they are normal, if they understand what the conventional doctors are doing, they will also be clearer about how serious your case is. Right? So if they know, like for example, Dr. Jansen, he is very familiar with all the chemotherapy drugs, so he knows what the oncologist is trying to do. So when he tells you, okay, PPARs will help you, it's not because he only believes in PPARs, because he also understands how the chemotherapy works and how it will work together with the PPAR. So here he will have a better insight than just the oncologist, right? But again, when you choose to go natural and integrative, I think a good way to test whether you can trust your integrative doctor, your naturopathic doctor, is to test whether they understand the drugs and what the conventional doctor is asking you to do, right? So if they understand and then they say we can support you, you know that they know what they're doing. I hope that helps everybody. All right, Doc, is that good advice?
Yeah, absolutely. No,
To
yeah,
test,
yeah,
right? You got to test.
absolutely.
If
Yes,
someone
yes,
comes
yes.
up to you, say that they have something that can cure your cancer and is natural, I think you should test them whether they know what they're talking about. I'm sure they will
Yeah,
know
of
their
course.
story about their
Mhm.
product, but do they understand what the onco is doing? Do they understand why the surgeon wants you to have an operation, right? Yeah, I think you should test the person that's selling you or prescribing you the natural product. Make sure they know what they're doing, because drugs and surgery is to stabilize your condition. So you don't want to risk destabilizing your condition while you go for a natural and integrative cure for your cancer. Okay. Doc, can I just answer this one and then you answer Sir Vaughan? For Miss Summer, you asked if it's suited for lung concerns like minimal tuberculosis, right? And you experience fatigue when doing brisk walking or climbing upstairs. Number one, for Miss Summer, if you experience fatigue while you're doing brisk walking or climbing upstairs, it may not just be tuberculosis. You might have a cardiovascular issue. All right. So number one, that could be another reason why you are feeling fatigued when you're walking upstairs and brisk walking. Okay. For lung-related concerns, number one, PPARs definitely will help because it improves your immune system. And tuberculosis is basically an infection, a viral infection that most of us carry. All right. So it's just that, especially for diabetics, it affects the immune system, so it will bloom. It will manifest. The tuberculosis will take root. But normally, if your immune system is strong, it will suppress the tuberculosis. So by taking PPARs, you're going to strengthen your immune system, and PPARs are actually good for immune allergies of the lungs. So it helps with your alveolar infiltration. It helps with lowering the production of mucus. So it will actually help your lungs. But primarily, the main effect is that it will strengthen your immune system and help you manage your tuberculosis. But of course, if it persists, please go and see your doctor, okay? Because some strains of tuberculosis are very stubborn, so you don't want it to go full bloom, all right? And sometimes, no choice, we have to use if your strain of tuberculosis is, I'm sorry, tuberculosis is not viral, it's bacteria, right? Doc, I got it wrong this now, sorry. Yeah, you want to take the right antibiotics for it, all right? So try PPARs first. If you still feel it, or if you develop more cough, I think go and see a doctor. You might need antibiotics to just nip it in the bud. Again, since you feel fatigue while brisk walking and climbing upstairs, it might not be tuberculosis alone. It might be you have cardiovascular issues. Now, if you have cardiovascular issues, yes, PPARs will actually help. All right. So you might want to get it diagnosed to see what cardiovascular issues you may have. You might have a clogged artery, all right, which is the reason why you just climb up one flight of stairs and you're panting already. So for that, PPARs is actually really useful. That I would recommend PPAR liquid, okay, because we actually have many patients who actually have need to go for angioplasty, and they were able to avoid angioplasty. Of course, angioplasty costs 500,000 pesos in Philippines. So if you can treat it with PPAR extract, that will be your first go-to. But of course, this must be monitored. You must go back and check to make sure that the clogged artery is improving, because you don't want to mess with a potential heart attack. Okay, yeah. So, but at least I think I've answered your question. Either go for a consult with Dr. Jansen or take at least the soft gel, if not the powder extract, and see if your condition improves. You can always just type a message into and someone will assist you. Doc, Jessa, can you read for Sir Homer's question?
Okay, thank you, Sir Sean and Doc Johnson, for a good engagement for the first two questions. Another question from our audience for tonight is from Sir Von Homer and Gomez. Is your product applicable to both patients not taking chemo and with ongoing chemo?
Yes, absolutely. So in the presentation that I showed you a while ago, my patient was actually taking PPARs, no? She's also taking targeted therapy, so that's not chemo. So it can definitely be used for patients who are not taking chemotherapy. And for those patients who are having chemotherapy, it can also be used, no, PPARs, but I have to know what kind of chemotherapy, because not all chemotherapy medications can be used together at the same time with PPARs, no? So because some will, they would sometimes counteract each other. So sometimes what I do is to space it out, no? So within a week of taking the chemotherapy, I advise the patient not to take PPARs. So the PPARs would just start a week after the chemotherapy. Okay, so there are also other chemotherapeutic drugs that you can take together with PPARs, and actually taking them together would make each other's effect much effective. Okay, there are also chemotherapeutic drugs that's like that. Okay, yeah.
Follow-up question from from Homer. So I just want to take opportunity to answer this. Homer actually asked, is there proof that PPAR minimizes metastasis? So since that's my area, let me expound on this. Yes, there is. First of all, before I answer that question, let's give some thought. What is metastasis? Okay, it's your cancer tumor, the cancer cells literally breaking off, entering your blood vessels, traveling through your blood vessels to another location in your body, and then coming out of the blood vessel and then finding a place to start to lodge itself and start to grow. That's why when you have breast cancer metastasized to the brain, you don't have brain cancer. Okay, breast cancer cells are different from brain cancer cells, which are different from lung cancer cells, which are different from liver cancer cells. So when a cancer metastasizes, it is the breast cancer that is now appearing in your brain. You don't have brain cancer, you have breast cancer um, migrated, moved to your brain. Now, that is how metastasis is, right? So now just think for you to understand. So how would you stop or prevent metastasis? Okay, number one, if your immune system is very strong and working, remember, it's small parts of the cancer tumor, the cells, small enough to enter your bloodstream in your blood vessel and move to another location in your body. So when it comes out in a new location in your body, it is still very small. It's not a tumor yet. It's just a few cells, and it will start to accumulate and start to grow. Now, if your immune system is strong at this point and is able to identify the cancer cell, then your immune system will attack that cancer cell that has migrated. This is an easy way to understand why also normal healthy people don't develop cancer. We actually have cancer cells appearing in our body every day. But every day, your immune system also kills the cancer cells, kills enough of them to prevent them from starting to form a little gang. And from a gang, they become a big gang, and finally, they become a tumor. All right. So this is how PPAR minimizes metastasis. The other thing is that PPARs also trigger your genes to manage inflammation, right? Wherever your body is inflamed, that's like a fertile soil. It's a great place for any random cancer cells that migrated there to take root. It's like it creates a good environment for the cancer cells to have a chance to develop into a gang and then a tumor, right? So since PPAR modulates inflammation, reduces your inflammation, that makes your body, the rest of your body, more hostile for cancer cells to take root, right? So of course, PPARs alone will not eliminate the risk of metastasis, but it makes metastasis more difficult for the cancer. So again, there you go, because you asked a specific question, it does not eliminate, but it does minimize the chances of metastasis. And I hope I've explained to you how it does that. And in the same mechanism, it will also, the same mechanisms actually also help your body fight against cancer. There's also research that shows PPAR gamma actually promotes cell cohesion. Okay, this one is a bit deep. Maybe one day we ask Jessa, since she's a microbiologist, cell microbiology, to go and share a bit about this. So if PPAR is able to increase cell cohesion, it will minimize the cancer cell tumor cells from breaking off. All right, so and that will minimize metastasis in one way. So it is not one mechanism, it's a combination of different effects that will then reduce or minimize the chances of metastasis for your cancer. And even if it does metastasize, it will make it difficult, slow down its growth so that your other modalities or your chemotherapy or radiation therapy will be able to take effect. Or even if you go natural, your vitamin C, combine it with Ibu, all these work together to give you a better chance of fighting cancer. So I hope, again, like what Dr. Jansen said, once you understand what's happening, you will also be more confident of going on to the protocol and you know what to expect. All right.
That's totally right, Sir Shan. For our next question, this is quite relevant for today's generation. Is vape can cause lung cancer? This question is from
That's
Mr. Wendell
interesting.
from Ilocos Norte.
Go, Doc.
Yes, it does. It does.
Oh, wow.
However, at a lesser degree compared to tobacco smoke, no? That is why those who are advocating vaping, they're saying that it's way safer uh, versus tobacco smoke, no, in terms of cancer risk, which is true. However, it still does cause cancer, but just at a different part of the body. Bladder cancer is one effect of vaping. Okay, so be careful. The way to go, no, is still avoiding any tobacco products or avoiding smoking. Okay, that's the best. And of course, with vaping, there are also reported cases where some patients developed fibrosis, pulmonary fibrosis, no, which is scarring of the lungs, no, because of vaping. Okay, because there are still some chemicals found inside the vapor, which can irritate the lungs. Okay, so be careful.
Doc, it's so easy to understand that when you smoke, there is a risk or damage to your body because of the way smoke smells. Smoking. Today, vaping is very K-pop. The men are very sweet. Yeah, it's so cute seeing macho man vaping bubblegum flavor, lollipop flavor, candy floss flavor, orange strawberry flavor, right? And these flavors, I think, give the illusion that or the false confidence that you're not harming yourself because it's so sweet.
Okay, that's a great discussion, and maybe some of our viewers in younger generation can relate tonight for that. And this is another interesting question. Are portable necklace, air purifier, or pocket UV light sterilizer can be a root cause of any type of cancer due to its radiation?
Oh, interesting.
Yes, UV is one that can cause skin cancer. There's another one. What was it again, Jessa?
The air purifiers, doc, and UV light sterilizer.
Okay. The air purifier is relatively safe, though. If you do develop lung cancer from air purifier, it might
I don't think so, Doc.
other factors might have can have an influence, okay? But it can, if especially if you use fragrances, okay? If it's
All right.
humidifier, that's different. But if you use fragrances, that can be one source of that can lead to lung cancer. Yeah.
Another one for you to take note when it comes to air purifiers, if you have those ionizing air purifiers or the ones that create ozone, right? For example, in my house, I actually have one called Air Pure. It actually ionizes the air and it causes germs. It causes dust to actually clump together and fall. So that's one way it actually clears the air. The other one is that it ionizes the air so much that it actually kills bacteria and viruses. Okay, it's the same reason when you use a metal spoon that has static electricity, it actually ruptures the cell walls of enzymes. Which is why we always use wooden spoon if you're eating expensive Manuka honey, right? 4,000 pesos bottle. You don't use a metal spoon, all right? Because the static electric charge there might kill everything good in your honey. Okay, now that's the same. So on my air purifier, when they do that, the instruction manual, which I think most people don't read, but I am a crazy person. I like to read instructional manuals. Okay, you're supposed to leave the room. So when I switch on that ozonization of the air, ionization of the air, I'm supposed to leave the room. You're not supposed to be in there. Not even my dogs stay in the house when I do that. Okay, but yet I see people like in cars, they put these ozone creating purifiers, and you walk in there, you can smell. It smells as if it's just after the thunderstorm. You know the smell that you smell after rain? Yeah, because the lightning from thunderstorms ionizes the air, right? So it smells the same. That can actually damage your lungs, all right? So when you breathe in ionized air particles like that, and you breathe in ozone directly, it can actually damage your lungs. So in that sense, it may not cause lung cancer per se, but it will damage your lungs, and that's just as bad, right? So be careful with that, right? Normal air purifiers that just remove dust, those are safe. But when you have those ionizing air purifiers, be careful. And those that emit ozone, don't stay in the room. Or you go out, let the ozone do its thing, and then open the windows, clear the air, then you enter.
Okay, thank you, Sir Sean and Dr. Jansen. You can see a lot of question coming up, but we're almost at the end of the webinar. This will be our last question for tonight.
Oh, wait. Last
Does
question. No, I
PPARS
think this might.
conflict with radiology therapy, or can they be combined?
No.
Okay. Yeah, okay, radiology therapy. This is radiation therapy. Okay, radiation therapy. Um, Now PPARs and radiation therapy, they are conflicting. Okay, so for radiation therapy, how does it kill the cancer? So number one, through direct effect. Okay, direct ionization. It destroys the DNA. Number two, it's through free radicals. Okay? Since PPARs, again, is a very strong antioxidant, don't use them together because the radiation therapy will eradicate all the antioxidant power of your PPARs. Okay? So what I usually advise for patients is just you can still take PPARs. Actually, I encourage you to take PPARs, but only after the radiation therapy. So if your radiation therapy was scheduled in the morning or during daytime, then the PPARs, we can take them at night. Okay? So that's how I space it out. Right? So that's radiation therapy and PPARs.
I think that's really important. When you when you do radiation therapy, when you go in there, they make you wear a lead apron whenever you take an X-ray, right? To protect the other parts of the body. So it's very important when a patient undergoes radiation therapy to quickly repair the rest of the body. Now, today, radiation therapy is quite targeted. There are some which can even just hit the specific spot in the middle of the body by really alternating or measuring the frequency to make sure it hits that spot instead of just going through the body. So today's radiation therapy is quite targeted, right? But there is still a spillover effect because it's radioactive. So what you want to do is, like what Dr. Jansen says, is no point eating PPARs before, because when the moment the radiation hit, it's going to destroy the PPARs, what the PPAR does. But it's so important to take it after, right? Because the damage to the cancer tumor is already done. Because very targeted, very strong radiation pinpoint at the cancer location. Now, it will definitely affect the rest of the body. There will be a radiation. So this is where the PPAR really comes in to repair the damage to the rest of the body and the organs, right? Anyway, when you radiate something, let's say if you end up radiating a bit of your blood that happens to be in front of your tumor while the radiation is happening, so there will be some circulation of that. Now, that can be easily handled by taking PPARs to manage that aspect of radiation damage. So take your PPARs, like what Dr. Jansen said, at the end of the day after your radiation therapy, and that will keep you strong. Doc, there's a very light-hearted question. I think this would just be something light-hearted. Does air fryer cooking food cause cancer?
We don't have any evidence as of yet, no. So, no problem. Anyway, the mechanism of air fryer is just basically using the air inside to cook the food. So that's why
So
it's
it's
called as
healthier
a
than deep
air
frying.
fryer.
Huh?
Definitely. It's healthier than deep frying. Yeah. So I mean, there's no reason that air frying can cause cancer unless they prove that the the lining, or what do you call that?
Ah, the
The coating.
anti-sticky,
Yes,
the
the
anti-stick,
coating
they
that they
coat the inside
use.
of the air
Yeah,
fryer, right?
the
Because
coat
with
that
the
they
heat,
use
it may
for air
release
fryer.
chemicals.
Mm.
Yeah. So
If
the
that,
answer
yeah,
to
yeah.
that is, don't buy a cheap air fryer. Buy one that is not so cheap. So hopefully the materials they use are all safe and approved. Not one last question, very simple one, because I think this one very applicable. We've grown up, every time we have like flu or something, we put Vicks under our nose, or we inhale
Uh-huh.
some menthol, the Chinese call it feng yu, this Chinese medicated oil you put under your nose, you rub in your hand and you inhale, then it clears your nasal congestion, right? Does that actually pose any pulmonary risks?
Oh my gosh, a lot of people are going to get angry with me. It does. It does.
Really?
It
Really? I'm
can,
surprised.
yes, it elevates the risk of developing lung cancer actually. And not just lung cancer,
Huh?
even nasopharyngeal cancer. It can.
Really?
Yes. Yes,
You're right.
I
Many
read
people will
this.
get angry at you.
Yes, yes, there are. No, so if I were you, avoid using them.
Wow, this is a very interesting topic, Doc. Because like there was at some point a fad or a trend where essential oils. People were
Uh,
breathing in essential oils. Um, just wondering, there might be a risk to reward ratio, like drugs, right? Drugs do harm, but they create more benefit than harm. So I'm this is a this is an interesting question. Uh,
mhm, mhm.
I'm very curious about this. I'll go do some additional research. Maybe we can talk about this
Yeah,
again.
go and read. Yeah, go and read a lot of articles about this though. But when you do Google search,
Mm,
the information that you will get are pro and anti. A lot of pros, a lot of antis, no?
yes.
So I found one article where they did a statistical analysis. So
Mm,
that's where I confirmed that yeah, it increases the risk.
okay.
So
So number one,
I was actually advising my mom to not uh
I'm
buy
sure
these
because your mom is
inhalers already.
Chinese, for sure this is something that we grew up with, that we will be doing all
Yes.
the time.
But she's my mom. She's well, old people can get hard-headed sometimes, so I just leave her be. But I just dropped the seed,
All right.
planted the
So
seed in her thought.
I think this is really true for those who are using it every night. Okay, because I think some people may have some sinuses or something like that. Or the moment you on the aircon, your nose gets blocked up, but yet you want to sleep in air conditioning. So you might be doing this every day, every night. I think Doc Johnson's warning is definitely applicable, right? Because if you're doing it every night, you definitely create a statistical risk of causing lung cancer or maybe nasal pharyngeal cancer, nose cancer. All right, so Doc, that one was very surprising. I thought you would say it's okay, because you're also Chinese and like you say, your mom is using. So I'm surprised because I use it too. Okay, I'm definitely going to use it very sparingly, if I ever do. Thank you for that heads up. Definitely worth going up and reading about it. Thank you very much. Jessa?
Okay, it looks like we have covered all our questions, and I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. If you have any follow-up questions, don't worry. We'll answer each one of your questions on the next webinar, or you can simply book a consultation with Doc Jansen by simply having a direct message from us, and we will move you directly to her healthcare specialist bed. As we draw curtains on tonight's conversation, Sir Shan, kindly give our viewers your parting words.
Thank you for joining us again. I think this topic of lung cancer is a good one, and education is really important. I mean, especially for small cell lung cancer, it's an aggressive cancer. Those with non-small cell lung cancer, okay, the prognosis is a bit better. But for small cell lung cancer, it's a very aggressive cancer. You will want to use everything at your power, right? Not only the chemo, but also all the integrative approaches, including PPARs and lifestyle change, everything, so that you can have a shot. And since we're on the topic of lung cancer is one of the slightly more, how shall we say, difficult to treat. But as Dr. Johnson always shares, there's always hope. There are many success stories. You could be one of them as well. So look at the positive side. Have a consult with Dr. Johnson, or put up your questions. One of our healthcare specialists and customer service will get to you, and hopefully ask more questions. It will lead to the answer and also to your victory over cancer. So have a good weekend ahead. Doc?
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening and watching our program tonight. I hope you learned a lot, no? And you got encouraged and inspired from the patient that I just presented. I hope, no, and I pray that a lot of you get the same results as her. Okay, so thank you everyone again, and I'll give the floor back to Jessa.
Thank you, Sir Sean and Doc Jansen. We hope to see you all in our future webinars to come. Same day, same time, every Thursday night at 7:15 p.m. Next week, November 23, we are going to have a special patient case presentation about the link between cancer and diabetes, entitled The Sugar Feed Cancer Cells. And aside from that, we have some important announcement. We are still currently in our Sulit Sweldo sale. Our Kickstart or Power Pack for detoxification and immune system boosting through complete nutrition. So do not wait for holiday rush to get your best gift of health. The management has approved a buy and get one free as advance Merry Christmas. Thank you once again for watching Simply Nature webinar powered by SMG or Simply Healed Medical Group. Because your curiosity about your health condition and your victory over cancer and metabolic diseases is what keep us going. Because here in Simply Nature, we are always with you from start to healing. Thank you everyone. Good night and God bless you all.